Have you ever wondered what silence sounds like at 3,000 feet underground? It's not the silence you know. It's not the absence of sound. It's pressure. It's an ancient, hungry silence that crawls into your lungs and squeezes the air out. My name is... Well, it doesn't matter. What matters is what I saw down there in the Persephone Mine, and I will never come back to the surface. Not really. A part of me is still down there in the darkness, listening. I worked as a miner for 12 years. It's not just a job, it's a diagnosis. You get used to the constant dust on your teeth, the smell of sweat and sulfur, the way the vibration from the blasts travels through the soles of your boots and settles in your lower back. But you never get used to the dreams. In the mines, they're always the same. Narrow tunnels that keep shrinking until you get stuck, and the sound of a pickaxe knocking somewhere behind the wall, knocking in the rhythm of your heartbeat. That day, we were working on the deepest level, level 42. It had only been opened a month ago. The air down there was hot, stuffy, and smelled of mold, though geologists swore the rock was 1 billion years old. I was partnered with old man Martinez, a huge guy, ex-Marine, who could easily lift a minecart off its tracks. But that morning, he wasn't himself. He was quiet. "Bad dreams again?" I asked, checking the roof supports. The lamp on my helmet pulled sharp splinters of rock out of the darkness. Martinez didn't answer for a long time. He was running his thick-gloved hand over the tunnel wall. "You ever hear about the Weepers?" he finally asked. His voice was low, and the echo stole his words away into the mine face. I chuckled. "In the mines, legends are born all the time. About gnomes, about mountain spirits, about the ghosts of dead blasters. Like La Llorona, Mexican folklore?" "No." Martinez turned to me, and in the lamplight I saw his face beneath the coal grime was gray as concrete. "This is our legend, a miner's tale. They say deep, deep down, where the rock still remembers it was liquid, the weepers live. They don't attack. They just weep, like children. And whoever hears them..." He stopped mid-sentence. The shift was just starting, and we both tried not to think about the 3,000 feet of bedrock above us that could decide to close like jaws at any moment. I slapped him on the shoulder. "Cut it out, amigo. Let's go drill some blast holes." We walked to the end of the drift where the rock was loose. It was a strange section. I'd never seen anything like it. The coal there wasn't black, but rather a dark gray, almost blue, and very greasy to the touch. The dust from it didn't settle. It hung in the air like an oily mist, making the beams of our headlamps look like lightsabers. I fired up the jackleg drill. The noise was unbearable. Usually, when you work on level 42, you're surrounded by a constant hum, ventilation roaring, crushers pounding, sirens screaming. But in this mine face, the sound of the drill was swallowed by the walls. It sounded muffled, like we weren't drilling rock but a wet blanket. And over that roar, right through the vibration of my drill, I heard it. Crying. I released the throttle. The drill died. Martinez stopped too, staring at me. A vein pulsed on his temple. "Did you hear that?" I yelled, even though I didn't need to yell anymore. He nodded slowly. Sweat was streaming from under his helmet. We froze, afraid to breathe. The sound wasn't coming from the tunnel behind us. It wasn't coming from the shaft. It was coming from the rock, right out of the face we were drilling. Imagine you're in an old basement, and suddenly, from deep inside the concrete wall, you hear an infant crying, except we were in a carboniferous tomb. "It's the ventilation," I said, not believing a word. "Air pressure causing resonance somewhere." "Shut up," Martinez hissed. I had never seen him like this. He was scared. An ex-Marine who had survived Iraq was afraid of a sound coming from stone. "They found us." And then the drill in my hands bucked, on its own, like someone invisible grabbed the steel bit and yanked it into the face. I tried to hold the machine, but it slipped, slammed into my leg, and disappeared with a metallic crunch into a small crack we had just drilled. A section of the wall went with my drill. The rock simply collapsed. A hole opened in front of us. Perfectly round, with melted glossy edges as if someone had burned through the rock with a giant blowtorch. There was no smell of hydrogen sulfide or methane like you get when you breach a gas pocket. The air that came out smelled of ozone, like after a thunderstorm, and something sweet, chemical, like cough syrup. And silence. The crying stopped. We should have reported it to the foreman immediately. We were supposed to put up a barricade, sound the alarm, and get the hell out. That was protocol. But protocol doesn't describe what it's like when the silence calls your name. I can't explain it. If you've never felt compulsive hypnosis, you won't understand. It's like standing on the edge of a roof and feeling the urge to jump, not because you want to die, but just to know what it feels like to fly. I suddenly needed, with every fiber of my being, to know what was inside. I grabbed a more powerful flashlight from my belt and stepped towards the hole. Martinez grabbed my shoulder so hard I heard my collarbone crack. "Don't look!" he barked. "Don't you dare!" But his hand was trembling, and I shook it off. I was in a trance. I shined my light inside. The beam didn't hit a wall. It drowned in space. It was a cavern, massive, with a high ceiling that vanished into the blackness. No stalactites, no crystals, just a polished black floor sloping downward into the dark at about 20 degrees. And the walls had smooth, straight lines, thin, glowing grooves pulsing with faint blue light. This was not nature, and it was not built by humans. It was logical, but alien. Machine and organism at once. See? Nothing, I lied, licking my dry lips. Just a void. Martinez stood behind me, breathing heavily. I stepped inside. One small step for a miner, and the abyss beneath my feet answered with a vibration. The floor of the cavern was warm. I walked down. I heard Martinez, cursing in Spanish, climbing in after me. His footsteps echoed hollowly in the emptiness. We must have walked about 200 feet, and the tunnel behind us shrank to the size of a matchbox. The ventilation didn't reach here, but breathing was easy. "What the hell is this?" Martinez whispered, studying the glowing lines on the wall. "They're not lamps. They look like veins." I wanted to answer, but at that moment, my flashlight beam caught something in the darkness at the center of the chamber. There, in the very heart of this stone womb, stood 3 figures, not lying down, not chained. They were standing, leaning their backs against each other, forming a triangle. 3 humans, or what used to be humans. We moved closer, our lights scanning them. They were miners. Their helmets were still on their heads, the headlamps shattered. Their coveralls had rotted into rags hanging off desiccated, mummified bodies. Their skin was like old parchment, stretched tight over bones but not decomposed, dry like jerky. One was missing an arm. Another was missing half his skull, sliced off, probably by falling rock. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was their faces. They were smiling, wide, ear to ear. Their dried gums exposed their teeth, each mouth open in a silent, ecstatic laugh. They had died happy. In that hell, 3,000 feet underground with no food, no water, with shattered bones, they had died, beaming with joy. "Jesus Christ," Martinez breathed. "That's Jackson's crew." I knew the story. 5 years earlier, on level 38, a crew of 3 had vanished. They searched for a week and found no trace. The mine was shut down for 2 months. Then they blamed a methane blowout and assumed they were buried in some dead-end drift. But they were here, 200 feet lower than anyone had ever drilled. How did they get here? I looked at the floor beneath their feet, that polished black floor, and I saw it. Dust, a thin layer of gray, lunar dust. And in it, no footprints of ours. Only the bare footprints of those 3 mummies leading from the center of the chamber and vanishing into another dark passageway. "Did they dance?" I asked, and my voice cracked like a teenager's. Martinez didn't answer. He was staring at their feet. The soles were worn down to the bone. They hadn't just danced. They had stomped and spun until the meat was gone from their heels, and then kept dancing on bare bone. And in that moment, I realized the floor beneath us was humming. Not just vibrating. There was a rhythm in the hum, a slow, hypnotic, deep rhythm that started to sync with my heartbeat. Boom, 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 boom. My heart was trying to match it, and it made me physically sick because the rhythm was wrong, too slow for a human. And then they opened their eyes. I screamed. The mummies, 5-year-old corpses, desiccated, without a drop of moisture in their bodies, opened their eyes. But instead of eye sockets, there was just a void filled with a mercury-like iridescent blackness that reflected the blue lines from the walls. Their heads twitched, synchronized, like owls. Their smiles got even wider. The skin at the corners of their mouths split with a soft crackling sound, curling up like old paper. They were looking right at us, but they weren't seeing us. They were looking through us and inside us at the same time. And I heard the crying again. This time, it came from their gaping mouths, but it didn't match the movement of their jaws. The sound bored straight into the brain, bypassing the eardrums. "Run!" Martinez roared. He grabbed me by the scruff of the neck like a puppy and dragged me back up the sloping floor towards the hole. Running was hard. Every step was a struggle, as if the air had thickened into jelly. I remember my back going cold with dread, waiting for a skeletal hand to grab my ankle. But when I looked back, I saw the most terrifying thing of all. They weren't chasing us. They were standing in place, waving at us. Farewell, tenderly, like you wave at a departing train. We tumbled out into our tunnel, gasping the stale but familiar air of the coal mine. Martinez, snarling, started grabbing chunks of rock and piling them into the hole like a barricade. I tried to help, but my hands were shaking. My helmet had fallen off. My light was flickering. "What was that?" I yelled. "They were dead. They've been dead for 5 years. Seal the hole," Martinez roared. "Don't think, just do it." We sealed the breach. We didn't wait for the end of the shift. We ran to the cage, lying to the foreman that Martinez was having a heart attack. They lifted us up to the surface into the rain and gray sky of West Virginia. I never thought rain could smell so sweet. We sat in the car, soaked, filthy, silent, for 20 minutes. Martinez stared straight ahead, gripping the wheel with white knuckles. "We tell no one," he finally said. "Agreed," I nodded. "They'll fire us for safety violations, or send us to a psychiatrist." "No." His voice was hollow. "We don't tell anyone because in a year no one will believe them anyway, but that's not the point." He turned and looked at me. I've never seen that look in a living man's eyes. "Do you understand why they were smiling?" I shook my head, feeling a coldness spreading inside. "Because they heard the music," Martinez said. "And now we've heard it too, the rhythm. Remember?" I swallowed. "That's nonsense. We were just stressed." Martinez laughed, a crooked, humorless sound. He started the engine. "Yeah, probably." The Persephone Mine shut down a month later. I quit the same day. Martinez moved back to Texas. We didn't say goodbye. We both tried to forget each other, the way you try to forget an accomplice to a crime. But here's the thing. I started waking up at 3 in the morning, every night. First, I just woke up. Then, I started sleepwalking. My wife said I would wander the hallway, tapping my fingers on the walls, rhythmically. I didn't remember any of it. And then I heard it again, not in a dream. While I was awake, sitting on the couch with a beer, staring at the TV, I heard the crying. It was coming from under the floor, from the concrete slab. I know that's impossible. I live on the 2nd floor. My neighbor is below me, and below him is the earth. But when I put my ear to the linoleum, the cold was the same as down there in the cavern. Yesterday I got a letter, a real paper letter, no return address. Inside was a single sheet, and on it, in crooked handwriting with black ink, just one sentence. The rhythm stopped. They came for me. And now, as I record this, sitting in the basement of my house, staring at the concrete floor, I see it. A thin, glowing blue, perfectly circular crack is spreading across the cement. I thought about calling Martinez, asking if this was some sick joke. But I know it's not a joke, because I can hear the crying. That infant crying, calling, inviting me to join the dance. And all I can think about are those 3 mummies, their smiles, their black eyes. And God help me, I'm not afraid that the weepers will come for me. I'm afraid that when I hear the music, I'm going to start smiling too.